Hello and welcome, everyone. Mimi is here with me. She is ready. She is really ready to participate. I was talking to somebody who apparently watches my videos, and Mimi was here. We were having a Zoom conversation. Mimi was here, and they were like, "Oh, she's always there, not just in the videos." Yep, she doesn't just show up for the videos, although she is a little bit of a princess. Today, I want to talk about the future of Facebook advertising. It's been a hot topic since Apple introduced restrictions on data collection, third party data collection. And that kind of threw a wrench in Facebook's plans for world domination when it comes to paid advertising. We're also going to talk about a report from Twitter that may shed some light on the future of ID identification, to be a part of a social network. So we'll talk about that. Some news from Instagram, of course, because there's always something new happening there. Reddit, which has just newly been valued at $10 million. So we're going to talk about the future of Reddit as well. So let's start with Facebook, all right? So we've all been wondering, what do we do now that our data tracking is limited and our ability to personalize advertising may be limited? And some are reporting that about 50% of Facebook users have turned on that feature on their iPhones. Twitter says that they haven't been impacted that much. However, we worry about it. Well, Facebook has just announced some, I would call them some plans for the future, because they said this is going to take many years and collaborations with other in the industry. So that's kind of a sticky point. We're going to have to see who agrees to collaborate with Facebook. But their announcement has to do with privacy enhanced technologies. So they're saying that they hope in the future PETs will allow a person's original piece of data to be anonymized and aggregated with other people's information. This new piece of data can then be leveraged by Facebook and allow advertisers to continue running and measuring personalized ads. In fact, they've already been using this technology. They've been testing it last year with some big advertisers. They call it the private lift measurement solutions, which uses a privacy-enhancing technology called secure multi-party computation. And they are planning on launching that with more advertisers in the coming years. They're working on additional tracking tools like the secure multi-party computation, which enables two or more organizations to work together on data sharing while limiting the information that either party can learn. They're also working on researching on-device learning, which will facilitate ad performance insights without sharing individual data. So I can't say more about that because that's all they've disclosed. We don't know the ins and outs of these technologies, just as we don't know, every single detail about how the Google search algorithm works. But they're giving us some insight into what they're looking to accomplish. The challenge here is going to be that they are a massive company and they're competing with other advertising giants. So are they collaborate with them in developing these technologies? We don't know. And it's going to be a long road. And in the meanwhile, advertisers are starting to base their advertising more and more on first-party data. So what Facebook is doing here, by the time they will be able to put these technologies in place, will advertisers have moved on? We're going to have to wait and see. Moving on to Twitter. Twitter released a report, an analysis of the tweets and accounts that were blocked for racist harassment last year after the Euro 2020. It was racist abuse. It was labeled as racist abuse. And there were a lot of conservative commentators in the UK that were claiming that the majority of the people who were putting out this racist commentary were from outside of the UK. And in fact, the conservative MP Michael Fabricant suggested that racist abuse might not be homegrown. It could have come from foreign powers attempting to destabilize our society. Well, Twitter found out that the majority of those they blocked for this bad behavior were residing in the UK. At the same time, there was a petition put out there to push Twitter to move to an ID identification solution for users. So basically, I have to prove that I am who I say I am with my ID. Well, it turns out that 99% of the accounts they blocked for this racist behavior, 99% of these accounts were fully identifiable, because trolls will be trolls, racists will be racists. They will behave badly whether they've been identified or not, which is actually really scary to me. And so, along the same lines, and quoting the exact same event, the Euro 2020 racist abuse that happened, Instagram just instituted a new filter where you can turn off comments from people who don't follow you, or if you, and from people who only followed you recently. You can find this feature under privacy limits, and then you can toggle on the accounts that don't follow you, recent followers, and for how long that limit is going to be in place. Instagram said, our research shows that a lot of negativity toward public figures comes from people who don't actually follow them, or who have only recently followed them, and who simply pile on in the moment. Now, throughout the years, we've done a lot of work on reputation management, because we do so much social media marketing work. And one of the things that we noticed was that typically, if the first comment on a post is negative, tons of others pile on with negative comments. Instagram here found through their own data that it's people who don't follow you or have followed you recently who tend to leave harassing comments. And in an attempt to make the social network more friendly, after all, it's a social network, it's a place for people to socialize, they've put these filters in. It's important for us content creators to know, to understand these behaviors, and to encourage our fans to participate in the conversation in a positive way, and hopefully drown out the trolls. But this feature, this privacy feature, should help, and I'm sure that we'll find out more about how it works. If you have been using it, do you love it? Let me know in the comments. All right, more news from Instagram. So we're going to move through that. Is that now you can search for sound, a sound reel, straight from the search feature on Instagram. TikTok had this feature before, so it's Instagram just trying to keep up with TikTok and give users what they need. And a lot of Reels content is produced based on popular music, on popular sounds. So this way you can find what's popular and create your own content based on it. It actually will make it easier for you to find inspiration. Moving on to Reddit. Reddit just announced that they raised $410 million at a valuation of $10 billion. And the question is, what are they going to do with this money? Now, I love Reddit, and for some reason, they've been able to really keep in check bad behavior. And it's a great place to exchange information with people, but it also has an advertising feature. So it's good for brands to know. But we've also worked with brands on Reddit. For example, we worked with over-the-counter drug manufacturer that made a product, a fertility product. And we organized an Ask Me Anything with doctors, where they answered questions on this topic. And it was a phenomenal branding tool for us in that instance. So Reddit is useful in many different ways, not just as an individual. And here's what Reddit is saying that they're going to be using this investment on. Make it easier for newcomers to explore and quickly understand the website, because Reddit is it's very old school in how it presents itself. Those of us, I've been on Reddit for something like 8 years. For those of us who have been there from the beginning, it's simple because it's very text-based, very much like an old school forum. It's enhancing its video products. This is a big one. Everybody's moving in the direction of video, and Reddit lags in that regards. Building its self-service advertising system and focusing on expanding internationally. Reddit is indeed a very American-focused company. So that's the big news of this week. One topic that I wanted to cover and open it up for discussion is the unbundling of social networks. What does that mean? Well, in the past few years, we've noticed, and I have a fly here. In the past few years, there's been a lot of apps, a lot of social networks that rose out of a special interest group. You have Peloton for fitness and bike riders. You have Strava for runners. You have Doxit for doctors, and All Trails for hikers. I'm a huge user of All Trails. So Clubhouse was pretty much very focused on the audio aspect of things. So again, fairly niche. So where are we heading to? So at the same time, these social networking giants are gobbling up other companies. Like, for example, last week we talked about how LinkedIn purchased Jump Rope. They're creating their own features as copycats of other features from other apps. Are they going to continue this? And are some of these apps going to survive on their own? And are we going to see more apps, more social networks that are very niche? I'm very curious to know what you think. So let me know in the comments. I don't know that I have an opinion at this point, but as an user of All Trails, I don't see how Facebook could copy that feature or make me shift over from All Trails to them, as well as with other apps, other social networks that are very much tied to wearable devices. Also, I think a lot about Public, which is the investment network, but that's actually a social network. It's very much a social network. Everything in there is just conversation around these stocks. It would be hard for me to imagine Facebook developing that kind of technology and fitting it somewhere in this multiverse that Facebook has become. So we're going to have to see. Somebody told me on Facebook and reminded me that Facebook is launching a podcast feature. So where you can feed in your podcast RSS feed for people to listen to your podcast straight on Facebook. They've rolled it out to a few partners. It's not open to everybody. But my friend who brought this up to me asked me a question. Should he prepare now to be there to use the podcasting features? Is it going to be worth it? What are people saying about this? I haven't heard many talk about it. I haven't even been able to find a page on Facebook that uses it. So if you know of one, please let me know in the comments. But knowing that it's just going to be a feed from your RSS feeds, like an Atom feed, which you probably are using already to syndicate your content to different platforms, it's probably going to be very similar to that. As to whether or not people are going to use it, my guess is going to be that it's going to be very similar to Facebook TV, where there's a fan base there, but most people will still go to YouTube for their content, not to Facebook TV. And Facebook TV had made that big push with original content like the Red Table Talk, which only streams on Facebook. So it's possible that we're going to see some podcasts that only stream there, just like Spotify made a move with like the likes of Joe Rogan to have their content exclusively there. So that's my 2 cents on that. Again, more to come. If you have any comments, any questions, drop them in the comments below. Let me know what you want to hear about. What should I cover next week? If you hear of any news, or like my friend, if you're curious about something and you want me to bring it up on this weekly show, let me know. I'll be back here next Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Time. See you back here next